Good morning. Welcome to Yoga Church today. This week we're talking about aparigraha, which is non-grasping. It's one of the yamas and niyamas. These are our observances and restraints that we do for a yogic lifestyle. These things show up on the mat, but they also show up off the mat, which is something we were kind of just talking about, trying to keep everything so that it makes sense beyond just moving our bodies. What we're going to try to do is move our bodies in such a way that allows us to sort of experience some of the mental shifts that we can take to be a little bit less graspy in life. One of the ways that this shows up in our movement is through muscle tension. When we are kind of seated and we're trying to get the pose just right, we've got our arms just so or whatever, we have a tension in our muscles, which is sort of a holding. And when we can sort of soften and release that holding, there's more energetic flow through the body. So in a very, it's partly energetic and partly physical, but we have this, whenever there's tension in the muscles, we have this sort of blockage of that flow of energy. And whenever there's like a looseness or a softness in the body, that pranic energy can flow a little bit more freely. And that, of course, is a metaphor for how this shows up in our lives. Where in our lives are we maybe holding, whether it's tension or holding on to an idea or holding on to something we don't want to let go of, a relationship, a project, a job, whatever it might be. And how can we then let go? How can we open and allow that flow of energy or life force or creativity or abundance or whatever it is to begin to flow through us rather than trying to hold on to it? So that'll be some of our focus today. If you have either a bolster or 2 bed pillows and then maybe 2 yoga blocks, those are kind of helpful, but they're optional. So we'll have those props available for our practice today. And then I think we'll begin practice today lying on our backs, almost shavasana, but we're going to get a little bit wider. So rather than having arms down by your side, we might kind of let them be sort of up above the shoulders, hands kind of resting above the shoulders on the floor, and legs spread out a little bit wider. So that's where we will begin today. And ideally, what we're feeling in this sort of supine star shape where we're really open, lots of space between ankles and heels, lots of space wrist to wrist, shoulders might tuck a little under the body to make more space in the heart center. And then just focusing on the breath and the grounding sensation of so much of the body against the floor. And ideally we feel that sense of rootedness coming from that grounding. But we also feel a spaciousness, and this is partly that balance that we talk about of sthira, sukham, asanam, that is in the Yoga Sutras, the only description of physical yoga in the sutras. Talks about how all postures should be a balance of both effort and ease. It could also be described as a balance between strength and flexibility. And so in this case, we want to feel the grounding of having enough. Since we're talking about grasping today, this might deal a little bit more with our root chakra center. So feeling the sacrum sink heavy into the floor for that sense of grounding in our earthly needs, our body's needs, our material needs, food, shelter, clothing, etc. Those basic human body needs. But then also feeling the top half of the body, the heart, the face, the hips, the shoulders, all of that area open and spacious like the air around us. So maybe take 3 more breaths, kind of big inhales to feel that spaciousness of sukha, and long, deep, grounding exhales to feel that strength and solidness of sthira. Notice if this pose feels easy and relaxed, if it it feels sustainable, like you can stay here for a long time. And if this pose feels abundant to you or open to that abundance. Then with our next exhale, we're going to start to pull the knees to bend in towards the chest and arms to wrap around the knees. Maybe the fingers interlace or wrist around wrist, and just kind of, or palms against the front of the knees to kind of pull that in. We might even choose to lift the head off the mat and pull the nose towards the knees, so we're in a little cannonball shape. And then do that same assessment. Does this feel sustainable, like you could stay here a long time? Does it feel open and abundant? And does it feel like flow? Does it feel like effort? Does it feel like ease? Next, exhale, release this and come back into that open star shape. And we'll just move between these two sets of poses twice more just to feel the contrast. So we have our open spaciousness, our relaxation in the body, grounding, effortlessness. Next exhale, come back into that little cannonball. Pull yourself tight, let there be a lot of effort. Feel the grasping nature of this cannonball pose and how little space there is in the body as we hold this shape. Next exhale, release back into our open star. Noting the contrast. Feeling yourself relax, take enough breaths here to let go again to the floor. Then pull inward one last time. Cannonball, head might come off the floor, grasping, holding yourself in this tight little position. Noting how the energy flows through your body differently in this shape. Then taking yourself through a little kundalini roll along the length of the spine. We'll rock our way back to an upright seat. And as you come back into this shape, we'll find some arm movements to go with our breath before we find some stillness. So we'll begin with hands at heart center. And just connect here to just the mood and the state of being that you're in your heart center. This is less about body, less about mind, and more just about state of being and the essence of your state of being right now. Take whatever's in your heart, whatever state you're in. And on your inhale, take your prayer hands straight up. We're just going to offer that up to that higher mind, to that divine nature. And then on your exhale, we're going to sweep out wide and touch the earth, kind of manifesting our energy to the physical world. Next inhale, come from the earth, sweep back up, offer whatever has been harvested from the material world, and then pull it back into your heart. So we receive it after we offer it to the divine. Inhale, reach up and offer. Exhale, manifest down to the earth. Inhale, sweep back up, offer it back up to that divine source. Exhale, pull it into your heart center. Inhale here to receive. Two more times. Inhale, sweep straight up. Exhale, manifest down. Inhale, gather and sweep. Offer again to the divine. Exhale, pull into your heart. Inhale here, receive. Exhale. Inhale one last time, reach up, offer. Exhale, bring it down to the earth, manifest. Take the harvest there, inhale, offer it back up to source, and then pull in towards the heart center. So now we've kind of got an idea of how that flow of energy goes, whether it's our thoughts, our actions, our projects, our relationships, all those things, how if we offer those first to Source, we can manifest them much easier because we have the full power of the Source of all things flowing through us. And if we offer whatever we glean from those activities, from those efforts, back to Source, we can receive it more fully in the heart. Let's drop hands down to knees now. And just take a few cat-cow positions just to warm up the spine. So as we inhale, heart comes forward, gaze lifts, shoulders back. Exhale, chin to chest, shoulders forward, heart goes back. Moving back and forth between these two shapes. Three more of these iterations of forward and back. And back to our neutral spine. When we get really focused on what we're working on, our heart is shining in that direction, our mind and our gaze is shining in that direction. What we're going to do now is shift to find out where we can spread what we have, how we can let go of what we have in more directions, and how we can receive from more directions than what we maybe think of sometimes. So hands back at heart center, we have our essence here. Inhale and sweep hands straight up, reaching the pair of hands tall. Exhale, twist open to the left, right hand drops to the left knee. And just pause here for a few moments. We might choose some action in the gaze to look over right shoulder and then left a few times, just surveying what's around and letting our heart be open to all of it. See how broad you can make your shoulders and collarbones at the front of the body, keeping the heart open and remaining grounded through the sitting bones to stay rooted in what we have, what we need. Feeling a steadiness and a comfort in that root center. Next, inhale, untwist, sweep the hands back up to that prayer position, straight above your head. Exhale, twist open to the right, left hand to right knee, same pose, other side. So again, we might choose that movement of the gaze and pulling the heart open here, as well as staying rooted. Two more breaths. And then on an inhale, we'll scoop the hands back up tall again. Exhale, just release them down into your lap. Feel the difference here of a steadiness and a stillness rooted in what we already have, open through the heart to possibility, and engaged and lifted through the mind to see from a broader perspective what's available, kind of getting that bird's eye view. We'll start to bring our props into play for our next shape. We're going to find some stillness with an open heart. So if you have yoga blocks, those might be really nice to support underneath your knees. We're going to bring the feet together and support the knees. You could also use a rolled blanket or towel to support the knees here. And then your bolster or your bed pillows can come behind the body to support your spine and head. And just allow the heart to be really open here. So in this shape, arms can come out kind of to the side at an angle facing downward. You can also allow one hand to encircle the other wrist and kind of bring the hands up and overhead, letting the elbows kind of mimic the shape of the legs and knees. And just feel a grounding both in the back of the head and in the sitting bones. So we are accommodated in both our material needs, and we have a calm and trusting mind. This is how we let go of ideas of lack and engage a little bit more with that open heart shape. As we lie here with the heart open, we are releasing any holding, feeling more breath moving through the body, representing more of that spirit moving through the body. You want to feel that open abundance, lots of space within the body and the heart and the chest especially, to allow breath to flow. We're going to just do a little short experiment here with the breath. Right now we're kind of feeling that flowing motion, that abundance moving through us. On your next inhale, take a really big full breath in, draw as much breath in as you can and hold the breath inside your body. Feel how much tension is created to grasp and hold that breath in. And eventually how tiring it becomes. Then exhale, fully release. Let your navel even draw in towards your spine to press out, give. Then hold your breath out for just a moment. Again, notice the tension in the body, that holding. Then soften everything. Allow your breath to flow without holding as you breathe in abundantly, as you give out your breath generously. At the beginning of class, we flowed through that exercise with our arms where we first honored and offered what was within us to source, to the divine. We manifested that in the earth, and then we released our arms back up high to the divine or to source before we pulled it back into our chest. So we want to make sure that when our open heart here and our open hips, as we lie back in this pose, that as we feel this abundance flow through us, as we open to receiving and giving generously of that abundance, we acknowledge the original source of all of this. That we are not the source, that we are simply a vessel for that source to flow. And the less grasping, the less holding there is in the body, the more moving through us. When we tried to hold that full breath in, it was too much, and we weren't really being nourished by it. We were just grasping. And as we gave out and then held the breath out, again, we weren't nourished. It wasn't flowing. So we can give really generously, but still have maybe the incorrect attitude about it. We can also receive abundantly, but when we hold that, again, we have the wrong attitude. So as we open ourselves, as we give of ourselves, as we receive more abundantly, we're able to become just that open vessel. The more space we make within, the more space we make by giving, the more we can let that abundance flow through. It reduces our need to grasp. It helps us let go of our fear of lack. For our last 3 breaths in this shape, breathe in and out very generously. Breathe in to receive as much as you can. Breathe out to give as much as you can. Acknowledge the source of your breath, receiving from that source and giving back to that source in equal generosity. And to come out of this shape at the end of your breath cycles, just simply draw the knees closer together, bring the soles of the feet back to the floor, maybe sweep your hands back down to touching the floor if they're not already. On your inhale, take a nice big breath into your low belly. On your exhale, press into the feet. Just gently lift your sacrum in line with the rest of your spine on your support. And then exhale to release your tailbone back down. Roll to one side or use your hands to press yourself back up to seated. Legs are going to come long in front of the body. There can be just a little space between your ankles, or you can widen them a little bit, yogi's choice. And we'll take the support that's behind us and bring it forward. This is another place where blocks might be useful, or a folded or rolled blanket. We're going to come into a forward fold, and so the blanket or the block might be used to support the head. Notice how much support you like underneath your ribs. You can pull it towards your body or kind of push it away. And then possibly setting up some additional support for your head. Take a nice, big, tall, lengthened spine. Breathe into your heart to lift your chin and your heart forward, and then roll that extra space over your support. If you're using any kind of extra support for your head, just make sure it's comfortable. Then start to relax into this inward shape. As we look inside, the front body is more collapsed. And if that's all we see or feel or focus on, we might feel that sense of lack or limitation. But if we can look past that folded front body and feel into the experience of that very open back body, we can see past our lack into the true abundance that is within us and all around us. You might even choose here to enhance that sensation by pulling up and away from your support for a moment, rolling your shoulders forward, reaching your hands a little more forward, and then folding back down with a little bit more open back body. We'll stay here for another 30 seconds to 45 seconds, another few rounds of breath. Feel within you as you take these last breaths where there might be a feeling of lack. Is there a lack of time? Is there a lack of money? Is there a lack of ideas or creativity? Is there a lack of connection with loved ones? Just notice where there might be a sense of lack. Then see if you can look past that collapse in the front body and breathe into the back body and start noticing where you could make a little shift to make more time, to create more abundance or wealth, to have more of a deeper connection with your loved ones. This is just that little shift in perspective of when we notice lack, shifting our mindset back toward that abundance. This helps us to let go of that grasping. Just about 5 more breaths here. Maybe make these last few breaths deeper and longer, receiving a little more, letting go a little more. Noticing the beautiful balance of giving and receiving, that the more we breathe out, the more space we make to receive as we breathe in. Then breathing deeply into that back body, let the heart roll you back up to your seat. You can set your props or supports to the side. And then we'll swing the legs behind the body to come into a tabletop shape. Hands and knees. And looking kind of straight down at the mat between the thumbs, a nice flat back. Reach your tailbone back a little, reach your crown a little further forward. Press into the hands to create a little bit of a cat shape, just a micro cat shape between your shoulder blades so there's space there. And lengthen space through the spine. Then walk both hands over to the right side of your mat. Feel that left side body broaden and open. Feel the right side body compressing. So again, we have both abundance and a feeling of limitation or lack here. It's where we choose to put our focus. We will always have ups and downs with everything. Energy, time, money, connection. But where we choose to put our focus entirely determines what kind of experience we have. Walk yourself back to center, come back to neutral. That little cat arch in the shoulder blades and the length of the spine. Then walk to the left. Same thing, we've got a really open right side body and a closed or compressed or limited left side body. And as we give to one project over another or one relationship over another, as our focus changes in life, we feel a lack in some areas and that abundance in other areas. So again, sometimes it's just a shift in perspective. rock yourself back to center, reset into that arch in the shoulder blades, length in the spine. Then tuck your toes under the body and press into the feet to lift the knees and come into our first downward facing dog. Now here we're trying to maintain that same openness at the backs of the shoulder blades. And the length of the spine here comes from gravity as we relax our head. So we're letting go of thinking and just kind of lifting up through the tailbone as we offer sort of our bodily needs, our human needs upwards. We offer that to the divine, knowing that we'll be taken care of. The Rastafarians say that Jah will provide. I use that phrase a lot. Beautiful. Take about 3 more breaths, making little tiny adjustments to feel all the places where we're abundant and grounded as we offer ourselves up, offer our needs upwards. Then both feet here will travel to the top of the mat to find a forward fold. Letting go of the head, opening the back of the heart. Then just like we did to come out of our seated forward fold, make a big breath into that back body and then roll the open heart up to standing. When we arrive, we ground again through the feet. And we're going to just move through a sun salutation on both sides here. So hands to heart center. Let's kind of mimic our opening arm and breath movements. So starting with what is already within us, what we have, prayer hands at the heart, offer it up as you breathe in to source. As you exhale, take a little dive forward, touch down to the earth, manifesting. We're going to rise back up here. So inhale, sweep back up, gathering it all, offering it back to the divine. Exhale, pull it into the heart. And then exhale again on your second breath out and come back into your fold. From here, left leg's gonna step back and left knee will drop. Here we want to feel both grounding in the right foot as well as in the pelvis. Really let that sink down. Feel how that opens the pelvis, opens the groin, making space to receive. And then either stay grounded here or press into the thigh so we're nice and grounded in the lower body. But push into it to open your heart and turning your gaze upward. Pull your shoulders gently back. Offer your heart to the divine, to the source, open to receive. Feel that heaviness and grounding. Trust that your needs will be met. Then as you exhale, come back to framing your right toes if you haven't already. Left hand is going to stay grounded. Right arm is going to sweep up and open and back, twisting in our lunge. So this is that shifting of noticing what's around. Exhale, come back to framing your right toes. Tuck your left one, step back to downward facing dog. Adjust those places again. Back of the heart open, head heavy, pelvis lifted to offer our needs to the divine. Trust through the hands and feet as we're grounded here. As we exhale next, we're going to put forth a little bit of effort to move it into a plank shape. This is us doing the work. Then we exhale and surrender again all the way to the ground, belly on the mat, trusting. Inhale to lift your heart open, lifting your gaze, acknowledging source again. Exhale, release. Toes tuck, back to downward facing dog. Grounding, open, trusting. Both feet stepping again forward into our forward fold, Uttanasana. And let's find that same motion. So from the earth, we sweep up, and whatever we gather here, we first offer to the divine as our gaze and hands are lifted. Exhale, pull it into your heart and receive it for yourself. So let's find that same flow on the other side. Inhale, offer to source. Exhale, fold forward, touch the earth, manifest. Then inhale, sweep back up, offer it back to the divine and then to your own heart. Big inhale here to receive. Exhale, fold and touch the earth. This time the right foot's gonna step back. Right knee drops, grounding through left foot and both hands. We can stay here, letting the hips sink low or press into the thigh. Then inhale to lift and open your heart to that abundance to flow. Lift your gaze to the source, pull your shoulders back. Feel the grounding in your left foot, grounding through the pelvis as we open there to receive whatever our body needs, food, clothing, and shelter. Exhale, come back to framing your left toes, grounding through the right hand. Left arm opens up as we inhale, twisting to see what's available all around us. Spread your fingers, lift your heart. Next, exhale, come back to framing the left toes, tucking the right, and stepping back, down dog. Opening back of the heart, offering the pelvis up, trusting through the hands and feet, releasing all thoughts of lack in the mind as the head gets heavy here. We're gonna meet the divine, we're gonna meet the source halfway by extending a little bit of effort. Next, exhale, find your plank pose. Take a big inhale here. Exhale, surrender fully to the floor. Inhale, lift your heart and your gaze, your shoulders pull back. Exhale, release, tuck the toes back to down dog. Both feet step forward again, Uttanasana, top of the mat, touching the earth here. As we inhale, sweep up, gather up all that abundance, first offering it to the divine, and then exhale to pull it into your heart. Inhale here to receive, exhale, let your hands relax. Take about 3 breaths, just grounding, paused, acknowledging the openness of our upper body, the grounding and trust in our lower body. We're going to flow through the sun salutations one more time, but we're going to add a few standing poses in our flow. So bring hands back to heart center, acknowledge what you already have within you. And then generously, we're going to sweep the arms out, offering it up to the divine. Exhale, take a fold, manifesting it down to the earth, touching down. Inhale, sweep it up one more time, offer it back to source. Exhale, pull into your heart. Inhale here, fully receive. Exhale, come back into your fold. Left foot's gonna step back again. And as we find a lunge this time, we're gonna leave the left knee off the mat as we rise into warrior one. So we've got a nice, strong, upright stance now. Grounding still through both feet, especially that right foot. Let your hips sink low and then lift and offer your heart and your hands. Maybe the gaze also shifts upward. 2 more breaths, feel your steadiness, the balance of giving and receiving. Exhale, frame your right toes, pause here, left hand stays grounded. Inhale, sweep your right hand up and back. So we just have a higher lunge version of that shape. Next, exhale, come back to framing right toes. We're gonna drop the left heel, so heels and toes are facing long edges of the mat. Hinge your body up to standing, arms out at shoulder height, gazing over the right hand. Exhale into the right knee, warrior two. Feel your courage here. Feel the openness of your heart, the openness of the crown of your head, connecting you to source. And rather than grasping it, let it flow. Can you soften here and just allow gravity to ground you? Can you stretch a little bit more effort into the hands to send that breath and energy out through your fingertips? So what we receive through the crown of the head from source fills our open heart center and then flows out through our hands and is shared with the world. This is how we interact. We receive from wholeness and then we give it generously. Beautiful. Next, exhale, come back and frame right toes, pivoting on the back foot, step back, downward facing dog. So maybe we find steadiness here.
lifting our pelvis, opening the back of the heart, and grounding through the feet. Maybe we find that little bit of effort as we flow into plank. Surrender as we come into the belly. Inhaling as we lift our heart and acknowledge source. Exhale, releasing back to down dog. Stepping both feet forward, hands or fingertips are touching the earth. And whatever we manifest from this abundant earth, we inhale, sweeping it up to offer to source. Exhale, pull into our heart center. Inhale, receive here. And we'll find our other side. So inhale, arms reach up again, offering. Exhale, take that dive forward and fold, touch the earth. Inhale, sweep back up from the earth, offer it back to the divine, and then receive it into your heart. Big breath in here, exhale, find your fold. Right foot steps back this time, staying lifted through that right knee. We're gonna find warrior one by shifting the hips downward, grounding through both feet, letting the pelvis be heavy, and opening ourselves up. Maybe even take a wide stance in your arms to open. Perhaps the gaze also lifts here to acknowledge our source. 2 more breaths. Feel both the effort and the heaviness and the ease of this pose. Then come to framing your left toes on your exhale. Right knee stays lifted, left or right hand grounds. Left hand reaches up and back, twisting open here. Lift your heart. Next exhale, frame the left toes. And this time drop the right heel, so heels and toes face the long edges of the mat. Hinge your way up, arms back out at shoulder height. Open your heart really wide and spread your fingers. Exhale into that left knee for warrior two. Find your courage and bravery here. Feel your open heart receiving from that portal at the crown of your head and all that good energy, that abundant flow flowing out through your fingertips. The hands for me have always represented our work and our dharma, what is ours to do in the world. So receive generously from source through the crown of your head and then offer generously through your hands. Let it flow through your heart and out through your hands. One more big breath in, then we'll frame our left toes and step back into downward facing dog. So again, we have our option for just pausing here with the hips high, shoulder blades open and head heavy. Or we can offer some effort here and flow into plank, surrendering to the belly, inhaling to arch and offer back to source, exhaling to release, back to down dog. Then both feet step forward again, touching the earth. Let's sweep up as we inhale, engulfing all that abundance, offering it first to the divine and then to our own heart. Take a big inhale here. We're going to turn our bodies to face the long edge of the mat. And in this scenario, we're going to flow through moon salutations. And what I love about the moon is it's constant changing, which sounds like an oxymoron. Is it constant or is it changing? It's both. The whole moon is always there, but the way it appears in the sky shifts for us all the time. And so does our wealth, so does our energy level, so does our connection to ourselves or others. Everything kind of waxes and wanes. What we want to try to do is remain both open and grounded no matter what our situation is. That when we have very little money, we still feel rooted. When we have a lot of money, we still feel humbled and rooted. So let's find our hands back at heart center, this time facing the long edge of the mat. And again, whatever we have in our heart as we inhale, prayer hands rise to offer that to source. Exhale, lean to one side, opening up your side body and compressing the other. Take a few breaths here. Inhale back to center, exhale to the other side. Inhale back to center. Step the feet wider, toes wider than your heels. Keep your hands reaching up. And then as you exhale, bend into the elbows and the knees, goddess pose. Inhale, straighten and lift. Exhale, bend and sink. Two more. Pausing in our goddess pose. Feel how grounded we are, how low to the ground, yet also how open and strong. Inhale, straighten your legs and arms, palms face down. Shift your left foot so toes and heels face long edges. Shift your right foot to face the short edge. Gaze over the right hand and reach and find triangle pose. 3 breaths. See if you can feel very grounded through the legs and feet, solid. Very open and abundant through the heart and the length of the spine. Last breath in. Exhale, kind of hinging to frame the right toes, bending into the right knee. Left knee can drop behind you. Let's find that twist again. Ground through the left hand. Inhale, sweep your right arm open and back. Heart is lifted. Next, exhale. Start to reach back forward. This time, right hand comes inside the right foot. And we'll find skandasana. So left leg is stretched long. Hips sink as low as is comfortable on your right side. Right foot is grounded. Traveling both from this open and grounded shape to the other side. Walking hands along that long edge of the mat. Sink the hips down on the left side of the mat. Extend the right leg long. So we're both open and grounded. Let everything flow. Release grasping and tension. Then walk your hands into that low lunge, framing your left toes. Right knee drops behind you. Right hand is grounded. Inhale, left arm sweeps open and back, finding that twist again. Lift the heart, lift the gaze. Next, exhale, left hand comes back to frame the left toes. Right toes tuck under the body. Start to straighten your legs to stand. Drop your right heel, so right toes and heels face long edges. Left hand can be on the mat, your shin or your left thigh. Roll open again into triangle pose. Being both grounded here in that trust that our needs are met, and also open through the heart to allow that abundance to flow through us without holding. Let your breath also be smooth and balanced between giving and receiving. Exhale into that left knee just a little to bend, and then hinge your way back to standing. Adjust your feet so toes are wider than heels again. Arms reach up and above you. Exhale, bend at the elbows and knees, goddess. 4 more. Inhale, stretch and straighten. Exhale, bend and sink. Feeling both grounded and open. This last round, pause in your goddess pose. Feet on the earth and wide. Heart open, hips open. Good. Inhale, straighten legs and arms. Step your feet back together. Palms come back to your heart. Take the abundance that we have within us. Inhale, offer it upward to the divine. Exhale, lean to one side, creating some asymmetry in the body. Inhale, center. Exhale, lean to the other side. Inhale, center. Exhale, hands come back to heart. Close your eyes. Ground through your feet. Let your heart be open. Acknowledge what is within you. Acknowledge the abundant flow in and out of your breath. Acknowledge the source of all that we have and all that we give. We'll turn to face the front of the mat again, stepping back forward, then coming into a seated shape. Just going to close with our same little warm-up exercises. So, first just beginning grounded. Hands can rest on the fronts of the knees. Let's take a few of those cat-cow motions. This time we'll reverse the direction. So as you inhale into your back body, chin to chest, shoulders forward. As you exhale, heart comes forward, chin lifts, shoulders come back. So we're receiving into that abundance at the back of the heart. We're giving from the front of the heart outward as we exhale. Two more. Neutral spine. Hands back at heart center. As we inhale, prayer hands sweep up, acknowledging our source. As you exhale, twist open to the right. Left hand rests on the right knee. Stay grounded through the sitting bones and relaxed there. Be open and effortful with your heart and lifting the crown of the head. Maybe the head turns again side to side, just kind of surveying what we see around us. All the possibilities around. Next, inhale, sweep yourself forward again, arms reaching up. Exhale, twist open to the left. Right hand on left knee, same thing, softening and trusting and grounding through the pelvis. Effortfully opening the heart, lifting the crown of the head. Maybe the gaze also shifts here. Next, inhale, arms sweep up again. As we exhale, hands pull into heart. Take one big breath in here to receive. Exhale, bring your hands down behind your body. Leaning back into the hands, we're going to free our legs from their cross-legged position. And just start to roll yourself down into a supine shape. We are finding our rest pose here, so if you want something other than a flat back shavasana on the floor, would like to use some of your props to support an open heart, for example, or to support your legs and feet, to just kind of offer yourself a break from the work that you've been doing, just to receive the benefits and abundance of your practice. Feel free to set yourself up for any of those scenarios. And then just settle gently into your stillness. Part of living a balanced life is giving and receiving in balance. It's not the same as keeping track. It's more a feeling. We tend to sense when we have been giving a little more than we've been receiving, or we tend to sense when we've been receiving a little more than we've been giving. So just in your stillness now, feel and notice the flow of your breath. Maybe coming into that samavritti, same length breath. Equal inhales and exhales to allow our body to sort of guide our mind or guide our lifestyle into that equality, that balance.
We might ask ourselves, what are we receiving in this moment? Or in this portion of our life, what are we receiving? We might also ask, what are we giving? How generously are we giving? As you consider these questions, start to scan the body for places of holding, places of tension, places of grasping in the muscles. And see if you can use that balanced breath to let go of holding back what we might give, or creating closed doors to what we might receive. The more we let go of grasping, the more abundantly flows through us. Energy, money, time, connection, wholeness. As you sink into that balanced flow, just breathe and relax. As breath flows in and out, let go of what direction the breath is moving, and simply notice the sensations of its movement. Both rising and falling of the ribs and the belly. Sensation of breath moving at the nose. When we release our need to measure what is given and what is received, that is another form of letting go of grasping. The more we release our grip or our grasp, the more open all of our channels are for that flow. The more generously we give, the more space we make to receive. The more we receive, the more generously we are capable of choosing to give. Rest and observe that flow. as you feel the richness and abundance of that energetic flow through your body, through your mind, through your heart. Notice how alive it makes you feel. Finding at first very small movements to spread open, maybe spreading open the fingers or stretching open the feet and toes, opening up the palms, maybe lifting the heart just a little more on your next few inhales. And we'll start to sweep the body kind of snow angel style into that big open shape again. So arms are kind of reaching out and fingers are spread. There's more space between the ankles and heels. Open your body up, stretch your toes away from your hips, your fingers away from your shoulders. Lift your heart. Feel that spaciousness, feel all that openness for energy to flow through. Then start to pull yourself back into that little cannonball shape. Chin comes into the chest, knees come into the chest. There's a grasping around the legs. Feel the closed front body. Feel how much less sustainable it is and how much holding is required to keep this shape. Then soften this shape and roll to your side, let go. Feel the grounding and solidness below you, the open possibility and spaciousness above you. Take a few breaths here. And when you're ready, rise back up into your seated shape. Pelvis and root chakra center grounded in the earth, that sense of trust that Jah will provide. That source has our best interest in mind, and then beginning to open the heart and lift the mind, to stay in that higher mindset and be open through the heart to receive. Bring the palms together again at the heart center, acknowledging what we already have within us. Inhaling to lift and offer that to the divine. Exhaling to manifest that into the earth, into the physical realm. Inhaling to reap from the beautiful and bountiful harvest there, offering it back to the divine first, and then drawing it back into our own hearts to receive. Let the chin drop again towards the chest, to look into our own hearts, to acknowledge that abundance, and to acknowledge ourselves as vessels, that the more open we are, the more this love and abundance can flow through us. We acknowledge that this will bless our own lives, and if we are open enough to receive and thoughtful enough to be generous, that this abundant flow that moves through us will also then touch and bless the lives of others, and so our practice becomes one of service. So we close our practice with this prayer. Lokah, samastah, sukhino, bhavantu. May all beings be happy, healthy, safe, and free. Namaste.